This is KGW News at Sunrise.
This morning on Sunrise, we're talking snow in the valley. This was the scene yesterday, of course. A lot of people throughout the metro area waking up to some snow on the ground. We don't have snow falling this morning in the valley, but we do have some very cold temperatures out there. Rod Hill will join us in just a moment with a look at today's forecast.
Also, we're visiting one of the city's new holiday pop-up shops that's filled with colorful jewelry. The designer says she's bringing her Persian flair to Portland.
I chose Portland because I'm in love with the weather. I'm in love with the rain. Also, friendly people Portland has.
This single mother of two is originally from Iran, and she explains why she chose to leave and also shares a message of hope for the holidays.
It is a Monday morning here in the Sunrise Show. Brenda Braxton is actually going to bring us that story here at 5:15. Although Brenda does have the morning off, as does Christine Pitawanish again. That's why Blair is back.
Hey! Hello!
Ron, you weren't here on Friday. Blair filled in on Friday, and she dominated the coverage. Dominated the coverage.
I wouldn't say that.
To the point where almost Rod and I weren't going to come to work today.
I mean, hey.
But we are back, and before we get to your weather forecast, I do have a couple of school closures. Can I mention those real quick? Sorry, Rod. School closures and delays to mention as we get started here. No classes today for kids in Dufur. Those schools are closed today. Up in Clark County, Rod, Battleground High School is starting 2 hours late, but at last check, all the other schools in that Battleground district are starting on time. One more to mention, Corbett schools starting 2 hours late. We have a full list, by the way, of closures on our website. Go to kgw.com/closings.
I'm going to throw out there that list could potentially get added to, because the big threat we're watching this morning, Drew and Blair mentioned, is dry, but we have freezing temps, and actually it was above freezing much of the night, so snow continued to melt a little bit. My point is, wet spots on roads now freezing over. I would assume there are a significant number of little icy spots on roadways across the area, so use caution with that in mind out the door. Portland just now down to 32 degrees, and temperatures will be falling through the sunrise hour. 28 now in Sandy, 32 in Sherwood, Tigard. So again, everybody's close to freezing or right there. So far, Salem and Kaiser holding at 34. Our dry day, freezing spots this morning, partly cloudy at the airport. We will have developing sun, 43 at noon. I have the high at 46. If we make that, the snow will go bye-bye, and then we'll wait until it happens again. No word on when that is, by the way. That's your forecast.
All right, Rod, thanks so much. And we have two traffic alerts for you this morning. First, that big landslide that closed a portion of Highway 30 about 20 miles east of Astoria. ODOT says it'll open one lane, but only during specific times. Now, the road will close at 8 this morning and reopen at 4 this afternoon, so crews can continue to remove that hazardous rock. If you drive through, watch for flaggers and expect delays. Now, ODOT isn't sure when the work will be done yet, but we'll keep you posted. And yesterday's snow forced this semi to jackknife off the side of the road on I-84 East. This was near Rooster Rock. It was one of the many crashes the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office responded to yesterday. The road has since been cleared, but there is still some slushy snow and spots of ice once you get up to Multnomah Falls.
Again, the big story yesterday, sticking snow in many spots around the Portland metro area. Viewers around the area sent us pictures to help tell the story. Some only saw a dusting in their neighborhood, but others got more than that for sure. We were out and about enjoying that snow yesterday. I know Christelle Kunwe, I believe, has more on this for us, so let's go to that report.
Sunday brought the first snowfall of the season in the Portland metro area, clearing the way for some winter fun activities. As temperatures dropped into the low 30s.
Pretty excited. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Snow fell across the Portland metro area, sticking in many places.
We're sledding on top of the hills.
Especially in higher elevations, like here in Washington Park.
We're loving it. We're glad we have this puppy here to enjoy it with us.
7-month-old Indigo had a blast.
He wants to keep playing.
The West Hills also got a decent amount of snow accumulation Sunday.
This is kind of awesome.
Giving Rahul his first glimpse of a winter wonderland.
This is my first time seeing snow ever. I've never seen snow before, and I really loved it.
But not everyone was a fan.
But then the weather was terrible, quite terrible.
Love it or hate it, local agencies were ready for Sunday's snow.
So last night we put down 4,750 gallons of anti-icer throughout the West Hills, all of the major typical areas.
So we've got our crews putting de-icer down really throughout the area, especially around in the upper elevations.
Both PBOT and ODOT say they'll monitor conditions and determine what, if anything, will be needed going into Monday's commute.
We're trying to be very, very careful and be very proactive and to make sure that we can get out there on the roads and take care of conditions as they happen to keep the roads clear.
Temperatures are expected to rise, so don't expect the snow to stick around for long.
I suppose you missed out on the opportunity, but this may not be your last.
Indeed, the first snowfall of the season in the metro, and fans of winter fun are wishing for more.
So a few days more would be great.
Christelle Kumwe, KGW News.
We want to give you an update here this morning on the tragedy at the University of Idaho. 2 students who lived in the home where those murders took place are actually being heard from now this morning. We can take you to that video here. Again, this is from the University of Idaho. These 2 roommates not only lived in this home, but they were actually at the home at the time of the murders. Police still have no clue who's responsible. They maintain these murders were targeted. The students were stabbed November 13th in their beds. Now, no murder weapon was found at the scene at the time. Over the weekend, though, we did hear from the surviving roommates who were had read letters that were written by these roommates read at a memorial service.
My life was greatly impacted to have known these 4 beautiful people. Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan were truly all one of a kind. They all lit up any room they walked into and were gifts to this world.
Officials say the 2 roommates have been ruled out as potential suspects. Now they're working through the more than 100 pieces of evidence and thousands of calls, tips, and emails to find the murderer.
Well, we've seen an increase in poor air quality throughout the years during wildfire season. Now, 2 University of Oregon graduate students are creating a response plan to help communities learn how to manage it. Right now, the students are focusing on southern Oregon's Jackson County. It's gone from averaging 5 hours of poor air quality in 2010 to about 350 hours in 2021. Now, the plan is meant to mitigate the damage done to humans that breathe smoke-filled air.
But what we have learned so far is that folks in Jackson County want to know more about smoke. They want to be notified in as ample amount of time as possible before smoke enters into the Rogue Valley, and they need to know what to do.
Now, the work is funded in part by federal dollars from the Department of Environmental Quality. It awarded grants to 20 local and tribal governments to develop these smoke management plans.
All right, a little bit after 5 o'clock here, Rod, back in the studio with us, and you've got the snow amounts from yesterday you're taking a look at here for us.
I mean, nobody got buried, right? Can we agree? Well, us short people had it the worst, right? We were up to our knees.
Outside of the mountain, though, you're right. No one got buried.
We had 7 at Timberline and Meadows. Hood River reported 3, Skamania 3, so that was the amount out in the Columbia River Gorge. And then basically in the metro area, it was mostly from Portland up to the north. There was far less reports of sticking snow when you got down into the Mid-Valley around Salem and then areas to the south. But around Portland up through the Longview area, you know, a light dusting to a 1/2 of an inch. There were a few spots, but not many, that reported a solid inch. And that includes over in East County. Of course, you had more when you started to get up into Sandy. I saw one report in Sandy where they had 4 on the ground. The low that produced all that is now down here in California, and there are no moisture bands coming our direction. So the forecast is basically dry today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. The next storm front end comes on Thursday. So, you know, what you probably assume is the case, but a quick reminder, if you are traveling out into the gorge, the Coast Range over the Cascades, you'll find snow and ice on the roadways early this morning. So you can see there's definitely snow there in the parking lot. That's Multnomah Falls parking lot off of 84 out in the gorge. Here's the highest camera in the Coast Range, just over 1,400 feet on Highway 26. Snow and ice on that roadway. The government camp camera, 25 degrees. It's kind of tough to tell. It's not very well lit. But if I go to Santiam Pass, oh yeah, there's winter. Right there, coverage on the highway, 24 degrees. And we do have expected icy spots on roadways here in the Metro Valley. We actually stayed above freezing much of the night. Snow melted a little bit. That kept moisture on area roadways and sidewalks and that type of thing. And now as temperatures are getting down to freezing in more and more spots, just assume there's an icy spot waiting to surprise you. So keep that in mind this morning. It's 32 in Kelso and out at PDX now, 34 Salem, 30s at the coast, 19 over in Bend. It is a dry forecast across our region, 18 out in Burns this morning. Forecast numbers should at least get up into the 40s. There's a dense fog advisory that's been issued for the Mid-Valley, Salem, down through Albany to Eugene. I think you folks have a good chance, most of you, to see some sun this afternoon. You'll need that to crack up to 40 degrees or so for a high temperature. It will be partly cloudy in the 40s from Portland up into southwest Washington today as well. Here's the dry weather through Wednesday. The next storm front comes rolling in first thing Thursday morning. Right now, that looks to be all rain, 40 to 45. Snow levels maybe as low as 2,000 feet up in the mountains during the day. And then it's pretty wet. Friday, there's rain picks up with a heavier rainmaker, I think, Friday night into Saturday morning. This could change, but right now, Sunday looks to be a dry break for the most part ahead of a next system that comes in on Monday. And I have Sunday zooming up to about 49, which would be pretty warm. Basically, except for Sunday, all these temperatures overall are below normal for this time of the year. Cold weather pattern continues. Yeah. That's my thumbs down.
Thanks so much, Rod. Well, just in time for the holidays, 7 new pop-up shops are open for business, including this colorful jewelry store in Pioneer Place. Next, we talk to the designer about what it took to bring her Persian flair to Portland.
Before we go to break, though, a reminder that our KGW Great Toy Drive is happening right now. As a matter of fact, Rod Hill was on hand over the weekend at the Wood Village Fred Meyer helping to collect toys. I think Rod brought a few of those toys back that you see right there. A live look inside our Regents Toy Box on this Monday morning. By the way, if you want to give to the KGW Great Toy Drive, you can do it very easily simply by going to our website. You can donate cash at kgw.com/toy, and we will do this toy shopping for you. Of course, if you want to drop off toys, you can still do that as well. Drop off new unwrapped toys at any IQ credit union, any Fred Meyer store, or any local Toyota dealership.